Welcome to the Karena Virginia Podcast, where we expect the best, even when we go through very difficult times. And by expecting the best, we get it and we can heal. I am so grateful to introduce you to Lilly Wolf and Sam Wolf. And Lilly is a survivor. I'm going to have her share her story with all of you. Sam is her grandson, an amazing young man. And I think that this interview is going to be so inspiring. And my hope is that it touches your heart and that these beautiful souls touch your heart the way they do mine. So I am going to start with you, Lilly, and just say thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me. 98 years old and a survivor of severe trauma in so many ways. I'm going to ask you to share maybe some of the most difficult things that you've been through, because I don't want to speak for you. I know some of them, but I am going to ask you to just feel free to just share what you want others to know about what you've been through in your life in these many, many years.
All right. So I was 17 years old at the time when the Germans occupied Hungary, where I was born and grew up till I was 10. I was an orphan. My mother died with 36 years of her age. She had a heart problem and she died, and I was about 13, 14. And my brother was a year younger than I was. And after we survived the orphanage, which was not so bad because we lived with my maternal grandmother, my mother's mother. My father was an Austrian by birth, but he didn't survive. Actually, because he was an Austrian, he wasn't a Hungarian subject, and he had to go out of Hungary in 1938 because he wasn't a Hungarian Jew, and Belgium was the only country which took him in as a Belgium subject. And unfortunately, in 1942, the Germans occupied Belgium, and he got to go to Auschwitz, and the rest is history in Auschwitz. So we were two orphan children living with grandma and my mother's sister. And then came 1944, when the Germans physically occupied Hungary. I was at that time 16 and a half. And they asked, the government asked for all Jewish people who are between 16 and 60 year old. Now you can imagine that with my auntie, who was 29 and I was 17 in 1944, we had to go to a sports ground to be prepared for a walking trip. We didn't know where we're going or what is going to happen. They only asked to be casual for a walking trip. So Grandma said, Lily, here is for you a handful of tea leaves, because I'm sure somewhere along wherever you're going to be taken, uh, you will have some hot water possibility to get hot water to make yourself a cup of tea. It was September, and in September we went into the winter. Unfortunately, yeah, and Grandma gave me in my other hand some coins. It was called Napoleon. It was very valuable. It is like our $2 coin, but it was pure gold. So she gave it to me in case I am getting into a position where I have to rescue myself, and that is a good bargaining uh, thing because you have a coin which is pure gold and you don't have to declare it or anything like that. So my grandmother was a very clever woman, and with this we went, my auntie and I, to the sports ground with thousands of other Hungarian women who were stuck in Budapest, in the capital city of Hungary. And we were supposed to go and march every day 25 kilometers. Don't forget, in those days, in 1944, women in Europe, and mostly not in the eastern part, they didn't have a gym to go and practice and get their muscles going. So 25 kilometers every day without
That's a
food.
lot.
But
So they didn't give you any food.
no, no food, no water. And the guy said, who was marching us, the German, the SS, that don't drink of the water, it's poisoned, and you can't have any cup of tea. So we just marched. My brother was with Grandma, and I was, as I said, with my auntie, and we were marching every day 25 kilometers. Now,
Without water, without food.
without food and without liquid.
How did you eat?
Unbelievable.
How did you drink?
Yeah, how did you survive without any
I'll tell
water,
you,
without
when we arrived, when we marched 25 kilometers, we arrived on the highway. We were walking on the highway. On the side of the highway, there are farmers. They were fruit farmers on one farm, animal farmers on the other, let's say, pigs and chickens and goats and similar. And another one had vegetables or tree, apple and peach and plums and things like that. Now, this was September after the harvest. So there were no fruits on the trees anymore, only the rotten ones. Now, every day as we were marching, there were women who, as I said, was not used to the marching, and they stayed behind and eventually sat down on the side of the road, and they sat there. And the SS came on the horse, he was on the horseback, and said to her, "You better get up and go with the others." And she said, "I can't, my legs don't take me anymore." And he said, "You can't do that, you have to move." And he said, "I can't." So she sat down, and the German took, or the SS took his gun out of his pocket and shot her in the head there on the spot. And he said to us, who were the 250 people who left the sports ground, he said to us, cover the woman with a newspaper or a brown paper, whatever you see flying, because she was dead and they didn't want her to be
Exposed?
exposed to.
Shown, exposed?
Yes.
Yeah.
But they didn't even spend the time to give a proper burial either.
No, they left her
They
there.
just left them there like that.
And how many
Horrible.
people would you say gave up and were just shot?
Oh, they were every day 1 to 2 people. There were 2 friends who held hands together, and they both were shot, and both were covered with paper. Now, seeing that we can't have a cup of tea, and there are the tea leaves, I tore off a piece of the paper on the dead bodies, put the paper on my hand, put the tea leaves in, made a cigarette out of it, out of the tea leaves. And that's what the only warm thing was in my stomach for weeks on end. I have to tell you that my auntie had a pair of shoes on. I had sneakers. The way now in Australia everybody wears sneakers. But I had a sports shoe,
Sportswear.
sportswear shoe, a tennis shoe, whatever you want to call it. And because she thought, because she's got a baby at home, and her mother, not her mother, the baby was 2 years old, and she didn't know how to. Well, the baby was left with grandma. So it was grandma, it was the baby, and it was my brother. And they were together staying behind because they were officially not involved in the 16 to 60. So when my auntie was walking between the first part of 25 kilometers, she created a movement in the shoe, which a nail came out from the heel, and that irritated her soul, her heel on the flesh. And she was limping because it hurt her. And
every day, 25 kilometers in heels. Yeah, that'll.
yeah,
It'll affect.
With a nail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the coin went, Napoleon went to the farmer, which was a good thing, but every day 25 to a different farmer.
Yeah, so every
For
day.
how many days? How many days?
How many days? Oh, I couldn't tell you. It could be 20, 30.
Oh.
And so you just kept walking. You had no idea where you were going or when you would stop. How did you escape?
When we, so you know that I had, my auntie took nearly all the coins.
Well, so the auntie, so she, because of her heels, she was unable to walk anymore. And, rather than having her shot in the head on the side of the road, my grandmother, Lilly, she bribed one of the local farmers at every 25-kilometer stop. They would be able to, rest on the side of the road, just on the concrete. And my grandmother gave one of those gold coins to a farmer with a wagon or a cart.
That's
and
right.
said,
A horse and cart.
A horse and cart. If you can take my auntie to the next stop 25 kilometers, the SS allow it, and we'll be able to meet up with her. So she did that every day. Another 25 kilometers, she would give the gold coin. And eventually you showed up at one of the stops and your auntie wasn't there. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. And I was inquiring, and there was another woman on the same cart and horse where my auntie was. And she told me not to worry about her because the farmer has felt sorry for my auntie because she told him that she's got a small child at home and she doesn't know what's going to happen with the child, that she's not there and her husband was already dead, the child's father. And by the way, the child's father died by, they made him dig a hole 6 foot long, and he dug the ground, and then they shot him into the ground.
Mm.
Oh,
Terrible.
horrible. Terrible.
Well,
so what happened with your auntie? Did the farmer actually take her in? Did he truly have compassion?
He took her home to his place. She slept the first night in a attic on the house where he lived.
An attic, yeah.
And next day in the morning, he went to the train station, bought a ticket, gave it to her, gave my auntie his wife's Christian papers.
Mm.
And that's how he came back on a train to Budapest, from where we were all nearly at the border.
He was an angel, a
Yeah.
human angel, saved her life.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to see compassion even in times like that. You know, people, they need to help, which is...
Yes. And I do think that there are so many people in this world that do want to help and that are living to help.
Yes.
And so many more people that want to do good than people who don't. I truly believe that.
Yes, but you know, these people were afraid of doing something because if the SS sees that they're doing something to save a Jew, they get shot too. They punish the ones who are helping.
The courage.
Yeah.
That was a man with a huge heart. And you know, in Latin, cor means heart, and courage comes from core of heart. So courage takes a big heart.
Yeah. And that is the name, Courage to Care. That is an association in Australia which is saving a lot of people. This is a sort of it's not a club, it is a business, but not business with profit. That everybody...
Non-profit.
Yeah, non-for-profit.
Yeah. And my auntie, who...
I think, what does Courage to Care do?
Courage to Care used to, it's about a 30-year-old or 35-year-old company, which goes, we used to go out to the countries in New South Wales, Australia, went to a school, and every class has had to be in a room with a survivor, and they listen to the survivor story, how they escaped and what happened to them. And that way, for instance, when I was telling stories, many times the girls who were 16 or 17, 15, they came after the story and they said, oh, with tears in their eyes, crying, I'm so sorry what we've done to you. They were apologizing, school children, that they were sorry. So there are affections in some people, but they didn't dare to do anything, or they didn't know about it because it
Right.
wasn't an open subject what the Germans did, because the Germans were there.
Right. And your grandmother was so wise. She
Yeah.
knew something was going on when
Yeah.
you and your aunt were brought to that sports field, and she knew to give you the tea leaves and the gold coins that saved both of your lives. And she just must have had some kind of intuition that there was something going on, which is amazing, really, because I think we're often in denial, right? But
Yeah, hoping for the best.
yeah,
Yeah,
and thinking, okay,
they said it won't last forever. They were always hoping that the Germans will lose the war. And then, of course, but by that time, the 6 million had gone. You know that 6
and
million.
so yes, yes,
Yeah.
it's traumatic, absolutely traumatic. Did you? There's so many questions I have for you, but did you reunite with your aunt?
Yes. My aunt went back to
Wow.
Budapest and found out where her mother and the little one was.
And your brother, right?
Oh.
So they were together.
Reunited.
And so was my brother with them. But somehow, somewhere they got separated again. And my brother was put in another apartment in the ghetto. The ghetto was blocked away from all the other Hungarian non-Jewish people. There were bricks around it. And the rumor was that the Germans built TNT under the ground to blow up the whole ghetto with one shot, with one
bomb.
Yeah, one bomb, yeah.
How were you rescued after all of that? And did you feel a sense of hope? Did you hold on to hope? Did you dream of reuniting with everyone? What kept you going? What kept you surviving? So you can choose however you want to share where you were rescued, how you were rescued, and how you survived.
After my auntie has gone with this peasant, the farmer, to that he took
Train
the
station,
ticket and went back to Budapest, to the city, capital city. She found her mother and her daughter, and they were taken to the ghetto. My auntie found grandma. I don't know how. We never checked that out, but they found each other, and she moved in with them in the ghetto into an apartment. Now, at the time, there was only 3 countries in whole Europe who were neutral. That was Sweden, Switzerland, and Portugal. Now, all these representatives from these countries were trying their best to rescue and help a Jew as much as they can. The most was the Swedish Raoul Wallenberg. You heard, of course, his name.
Yes.
So Raoul Wallenberg, who could not speak Hungarian, and the Hungarian Jews couldn't speak Swedish, Raoul Wallenberg came into the ghetto on Christmas Eve, 1944. That was December the 24th. And he came in and went to the Jewish Welfare Office. Well, by that time, I was working there because I got free from this SS group. I escaped from the same little village where my auntie was taken to the train and back to Budapest. And I went, the German who was with us, the Nazi, he said whoever is whoever is under uh, 16 and over 16 in the group who shouldn't be in the group, they should stand aside and be taking them back to Budapest because too many people have died and it was too dangerous for so many dead bodies on the highway whom he shot at least one or two or occasionally three. So my when I got back, walking back the same way to Budapest, we were sleeping on the ground, which was wet. We were eating the roots of the carrots and the potato and the vegetables, whatever was on the ground. We sucked the juice out of the roots, and maybe that's what I think. Whatever was vitamin in it, that's what we lived on.
Mm.
And I got back to Budapest after marching back the same days. And I went to the Jewish Welfare Office in the ghetto and asked for my brother, and they gave me the address, and I got together with my brother again. So there was a bedroom, a European bedroom is much bigger than the Australian bedroom. So in there was 28 body, one head, one tail, like a sardine, a tin of sardine. And that's where my brother was. And I joined him. I wasn't very popular to be the 29th, but they had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, squeezing into that sardine can,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They had to get even closer.
I don't even want to share a room, but 28 people. Wow.
Right.
That's a lot. When you were walking back that 25 kilometers a day, was the hope, you just had hope in your mind that you were going to see your brother and your grandmother again? And is that kind of what kept you going?
I was hoping, never thought that I'm going to die.
Good.
I never thought that will be the last that I see.
See, that is amazing to me. You had hope, but you also never, walking 25 kilometers a day, drinking the roots so that you could have even just a little bit of fluid, roots of carrots and potatoes, and you didn't have water. You smoked your tea leaf, and you kept walking and walking and walking, watching people get shot in the head.
Yeah.
And you still believed that you were going to survive and that you were going to make it, and you held on to hope. My question for you is, was that hope from you believing in God? Was it hope from your faith? Was it hope that you believed that you had what it took to sustain all of that? Where did that hope come from?
And look, every human being wants to live. As soon as they get the brain, the thing, the soul talking, and when you arrive to a ripe age of 15 or 17, like I was at the time, I thought there is no death. there's only a hope to survive. I did not think an iota that I will die, even though I was very close to it, because one day the German got me and they took me in. I spoke fluently German, so that may be added on to my knowledge that I will survive.
You spoke German fluently.
Yeah, fluently German and Hungarian, not English. English I only started to speak when I immigrated to Australia.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you spoke Hungarian and German.
Yes.
And
my mother
English.
tongue was French. The very first language I spoke was French.
So you spoke French, German, and Hungarian by the time you were 15.
Yes.
And now you speak English the way you speak English.
But I don't speak French. I forgot French.
Oh, you don't speak French. But you are such an inspiration. And when I was talking to Jerry, your son, about interviewing you, he said it's the Lilly Wolf way. So what does the Lilly Wolf way mean to you?
Survivor. I am a survivor.
You are a survivor. And what do you want to say to women who are feeling like they're dying right now in their situations, in their, women who are severely abused, women who are living in this, because I do think that there are women who live in a prison of their own trauma, and sometimes they hide it very well, sometimes they don't. But what is your advice for these women?
Hang on. Before I give the advice, I want to tell you that when the Germans lost the war, the Russians were coming from the east to Europe, and I was very keen. See, you don't know yet that when I got back from the marching, I got back into the ghetto, and I was given the address of my brother and the sardine tin, the tin of sardines.
The sardine, the sardine tin, the 29th.
That's right.
Yes.
And after that, a woman in the building where my brother was and I joined him, a woman lost her mind. She went up in December, mid-December, on the top of the flight, 5th or 6th flight, and in a bikini in December. She had a bra, a little panty, a handbag hanging on in her hand, and she jumped from the top floor in front of us. We only had food once a day, a hot water. That water was boiled, and in it was potato peel and carrot peel and parsnip, all three vegetables what the restaurants threw out because there were still restaurants around. And the ghetto people, the cooks, gathered them together and cooked it. And that's what they gave all the ghetto people, this sort of soup, which had the peels in it. So when this woman committed suicide, I just couldn't take it anymore. I've seen a lot of dead bodies, but not like that. I went next day to the Welfare Society and told them what happened. And I told them if they don't want me to be the next who is jumping, better give me a job here because I can't take it. So they said,
But that right there is amazing that you had the courage to say, if you don't want to see me jumping in my bikini carrying a little pocketbook, I need a job.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
wanted
right.
to
Just to
Something to keep you going
Yeah.
and keep you occupied and
and not
and
be
to be
there.
assertive enough
Yeah.
to say that.
At 17.
At 17, this young woman who's petrified, but you said, if you don't give me a job, you're going to see me doing this. Meanwhile, you knew you weren't going to because you were a survivor and you knew that. But you knew that you had to say this in order to make the change.
Yeah. So
they gave you a job.
They gave me a tea lady job. Now you know
What's
what a tea
that?
lady is. Bring the bickies, bring a cup of coffee, wash up the dish, bring a cup of tea, biscuits, sandwich, whatever was available. Not much. We knew that the war in Hungary can't last long because we knew that the Russians are around the corner. And by that time, they were already in Hungary, but in the outer left, where the Russians were coming in. So we, I left 8 o'clock in the morning. Excuse me, and on the 24th of December, in the late, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Raoul Wallenberg walked in to the ghetto. And he came to the Welfare Society, and because he didn't speak Hungarian, he only spoke German as a diplomatic. He was a diplomat. And as a diplomatic servant, he only spoke German, what Hungarians could understand. And I personally spoke German and Hungarian. So I became a translator for him between the Hungarians and him. And what he wanted to go out on the street and just in the ghetto, just tell aloud who wants to go to a Swedish protected house. And straight away, a few people put their hands up. They want to. So they came into the
welfare house.
What?
The welfare house.
The welfare house. And there were 24 people who bought themselves a passport, a
visa.
A visa card that they are Swedish diplomats. And that was his aim, that whoever wants to go to survive it or to go to a Swedish protected house, what Wallenberg done, he got some American money and brought it in to, he bought houses. He bought houses in Budapest, either from the government or from private enterprises. And in these houses, he put outside the Swedish emblem, which was neutral, and he put in every apartment 2 or 3 families. So this way, they got protected because Sweden was neutral, and nobody was allowed to enter the neutral country property.
Yes.
Now,
did your brother go with you too?
No, my brother was in the sardine room, and the
sardine room.
Yeah, and when these 24 made arrangements with Wallenberg, then he asked me, "Do you want to come with us?" And I said, "Look, I can't. I haven't got any money to pay you or buy my visa, and that's one. And I got a brother who is 1.5 block away, and I can't imagine how you can take 25 people with 24 visas. He said the first one that, what was the first?
That there's no time at all to go to your
I
brother.
can't. I would love to come, but I can't because my brother is there. He said, we haven't got time for your brother to be picked up. And the third one, how do you take 25 people out of 24 visas? He said, I tell you how. The people, the 24 are starting to walk at the gate,
They line up in two lines of 12.
2 lines of 12s, and the guard at the gate, at the ghetto gate, is going to count 2, 4, 6, 8, and you crouching in between them, and you go out. And that's
And did you? You
Yeah.
did that? Wow. How scary was
Yeah.
that?
I was scared.
And so you made it.
I made.
And meanwhile,
I'm here. I made it. It was a very scary enterprise that I look. There wasn't much chance. We knew that the ghetto was bombed under, as I mentioned before. So it wasn't very easy to swallow all these restrictions. So we got out of the ghetto.
Well, how was it, I guess, making that split second decision to go by
He
yourself?
said to me, look, I would suggest you that it's for getting your brother, it's better that you would go out and send him from outside some food, because I said that he's not able to feed himself. There is nothing there. He was 16 years old. And
that probably was giving you the ability to do it. Otherwise, you would have wanted to go and save your little brother. You wouldn't have been able to leave him. But knowing that there was a possibility that if you left him, you would be able to provide food for him, probably gave you the motivation.
encouragement to give. So anyway, I got out and I went with whatever was given us, a Swedish protected house. Now we went in there, the 25 of us. 24 went down the cellar because they were officially with a visa.
Right.
And I had to go on the top floor, which was the third floor, and I was hiding up there because I didn't dare to go down to the 24, because if there is a control of the Germans and they find 25 one over, there'll be a problem.
Yeah. Did they ever come into the house and check?
No, they didn't. No. So that was the 24th of December. And somehow somebody, and we don't know who it was, gave us some sandwiches once a day. And they gave it to the downstairs into the cellar, and I came once a day down from the third floor, ate something, and went back.
And what did you do to keep yourself occupied? Like what were you doing to keep busy while you were alone in the attic?
I can't remember what I done. I know that I was all by myself and was thinking of Freddy, of my brother. I was thinking of what my father would. We didn't know that he was dead at the time. Anyway,
after a couple of days,
you had one sandwich a day.
Yeah.
that was probably the most delicious sandwich you've ever had in your life.
Yeah.
And you lived like that for how long? From the 25th of December
Till the 6th
24th,
of
25th.
January.
Okay.
6th of February or January?
January. 6th of January.
Mm.
And then what happened on January
and on
6th?
6th of January, I was up on the 3rd floor, crouching in the corner. Budapest got a hell of a lot of bombardments. And by that time, the Russians were very close to the walls already. Anyway, I can hear how the aeroplanes are above us, and I can hear how the bombs are falling, and all of a sudden I hear a zoom, 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 zoom explosion, and I opened my eyes. I had to wait to be able to see what happened. Well, what happened that explosion was a bomb in front of my nose going down, and it took the staircase, it took all the windows, and I was all by myself on the 3rd floor, by myself, and the staircase was gone. So
And the 24 people that were down there, were they gone too?
No, I walked down, not on stairs, but jumped from one of the others to go down the 24, to the 24 people. And you wouldn't believe it, that out of 24, only 6 made it. The others were all dead. So that one bomb took the staircase and went down to the cellar.
I always think
So there
about
were 6.
how crazy, I guess, not to say it's lucky, but thinking about, if she hadn't been up in the attic hiding and she had been downstairs, maybe she would have been one of those, who were killed in the bomb. It's just a way to think.
I mean, 6 people out of 24 survived. So the majority of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The 6 of them and myself got a policeman, and he took us to another Swedish protected house in another suburb.